Good evening. You're watching the news at 7:30 on ATV. I'm Anne Reeson.
And I'm Edna. Here's a look at tonight's top stories.
Referendum on universal suffrage attracts more than double the target of 100,000 voters on opening day.
Tension outside and inside LegCo as lawmakers prepare to vote on funding request for new town development plan.
Green groups ridicule airport authorities' assessment that endangered dolphins will return to habitat after third runway is built.
Occupy Central organisers are heading for a successful mock referendum on universal suffrage, having more than doubled the target of 100,000 voters on the first day of polling online.
A massive cyber attack on the voting platform has prompted them to stretch the referendum over 10 days, which means they can attract many more voters to send a strong message to the government and Beijing.
From noon today, Hong Kongers were able to vote on political reform proposals for the 2017 chief executive election in a mock referendum organised by civil disobedience group Occupy Central. 3 hours after polling began online, the number of voters had already exceeded the minimum target of 100,000. The core leaders of the civil disobedience movement had said they would consider their campaign a failure if they could not reach that number. China's release of a controversial white paper on Hong Kong last week prompted many more people to vote, erasing earlier fears that the referendum would be wrecked following infighting in the democracy camp and claims that the movement had been hijacked by radicals. The public can vote via the smartphone app PopVote or by visiting the website popvote.hk until next Sunday. The poll was extended for a week after the electronic system set up to accept advance registrations came under massive cyber attacks since it was launched last Friday. Such moves are known in computing as distributed denial of service attacks, which aim to overwhelm a website with requests so regular visitors can't reach it. Occupy Central convener Benny Tai told radio listeners this morning that he's confident the electronic voting platform built by Hong Kong University's public opinion program can withstand another major hack attack. Tai acknowledged that there are many people who oppose Occupy Central but still support genuine universal suffrage. He said the referendum will send a clear signal to the government that people want genuine democracy. He also rejected the idea that the violence at the LegCo building last Friday was a trial run by activists for Occupy Central. Tai promised not to let the movement be hijacked by radical forces. He said the movement had clearly set out its campaign's objectives and peaceful intentions. A picket team has been formed to ensure the planned blockade of the business district will be done peacefully. The government issued a statement today making it clear that the mock referendum is not legally binding because there's no relevant provision in the Basic Law or in the SAR's laws. The government also urged the public to reach a consensus in a rational and pragmatic way that's based on the Basic Law and the decisions of the National People's Congress Standing Committee. The unofficial referendum offers voters a shortlist of 3 electoral reform proposals to choose from, all with elements of civil nomination, even though the Beijing and SAR governments are strongly against allowing ordinary voters to name chief executive candidates. If people can't vote online, they can visit one of the 15 polling stations set up across the city on Sunday, with another 10 stations open the following Sunday. Those who want to vote at night at a polling station can visit the City University campus from Monday to the 28th of June.
A retired Beijing official has denied that the central government is tightening its grip on Hong Kong by issuing a white paper, but assured the public the document is only meant to clarify any misunderstandings about the one country, two systems policy.
Chen Tso-er noted that although the city itself has returned to Chinese rule, the hearts of the people have not, and he believes the document was released at the right time. Chen Tso-er, the former deputy head of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, sought to allay fears today that China is tightening its grip on the SAR. Such concerns have been sparked by the release of Beijing's white paper on the SAR's autonomy, which asserts the central government's total authority over Hong Kong and requires its leaders to be patriots above all. Chen told a forum here that the SAR may have returned to China, but the hearts of the people have not, and he believes they still have a long way to go. He denied Beijing is tightening its grip on Hong Kong and insisted the white paper was released because the central government needed to give a comprehensive statement, as some Hong Kongers still have a vague understanding of the one country, two systems policy. Don't worry, the white paper does not mention taking back the city's autonomy or power, Chen said during the forum on Hong Kong's economic development. The central government is just trying to summarise what Beijing has done over the past 17 years. The retired senior Beijing official also accused the Occupy Central movement of encouraging people to break the law. The rule of law is the core value of Hong Kong, Chen stressed. A LegCo Finance Committee meeting to discuss initial funding for the government's Northeastern New Territories development plan was adjourned this evening as large crowds of protesters gathered at Tamar.
The protesters complained about being kept away from the building as a full lockdown was enforced to avoid a repeat of last Friday's violence.
An unprecedented lockdown enforced by hundreds of police officers kept protesters away from the LegCo building today. The main designated protest area, marked A on the map, was completely off limits and protesters were only allowed to gather round the corner in a second public zone marked B on the map. But they found the arrangements unacceptable, complaining they were protesting in the middle of nowhere and moved the gathering to Tin Mei Avenue, which is closer to government headquarters. Police had to close 2 lanes to traffic as hundreds assembled to oppose the government's plan to build 2 new towns in the northeastern New Territories.
We are very disappointed with the current situation because LegCo is actually the place where to represent the Hong Kong public. But now you can see all the arrangement. They are fencing up the LegCo and only allow you to demonstrate in a faraway place.
Villagers who stand to lose their homes to make way for the development project said they did not want to see a repeat of last week's violence when an angry mob tried to storm the building and clashed with police.
We had stated very clearly that we wish today's protest, our bottom line is nobody's getting hurt and the LegCo building will not be affected. And we also promised and announced that we will not have any strong action today.
With LegCo's Finance Committee planning to finish voting tonight on the government's request for $340 million to get the mega project started, the protesters waited in suspense.
We'll stay till the end of the meeting, and we can't imagine what it will be if they pass the motions today.
Even lawmakers' assistants were included in the ban on public access to LegCo today, and some of them were upset.
The LegCo president, Mr. Zhang, he make a decision that we cannot enter and exit the LegCo building after 2:30. So we think this arrangement is hardly damage our work to assist LegCo Legislative Council members.
Inside the building, the atmosphere was just as charged as pan-democratic lawmakers jointly tried to move a motion calling for the session to be adjourned. Committee Chairman Ng Leng Sing refused at first, then suddenly adjourned the meeting earlier this evening. Earlier today, Police Commissioner Andy Zhang warned that his officers would not tolerate violence at LegCo. He also responded to allegations of police brutality last Friday, claiming there was no proof that some protesters were beaten and abused after being arrested. Zhang noted that the protesters had not filed an official complaint yet and urged them to come forward if they were telling the truth. For his part, Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying posted a speech online today titled All for One, One for All, and calling for mutual consensus on the new town project. Leung insisted on the need for new towns, citing the examples of Sha Tin, Tuen Mun and Tseung Kwan O, which house 1.5 million residents. He suggested that some of the same people who oppose the latest development plans are enjoying the housing benefits provided by the existing new towns.
Ocean Park Chairman Alan Zeman is stepping down next month after spending 11 years building the theme park into a highly successful tourist attraction.
His deputy Leo Kung will take over, but Zeman, who backed the losing candidate in the chief executive race, is hoping to remain in an advisory role. ATV's Arthur Akiola reports.
The government announced today that Ocean Park Chairman Alan Zeman will step down at the end of the month after 11 years at the helm of the city's most popular tourist landmark. Zeman, known for his formidable business skills, as well as for dressing the part whenever the park rolls out new attractions, will be succeeded by his deputy Leo Kung, seen here on the right. Kung, a member of the Shanghai branch of China's top political advisory body, is expected to have a different style. He's been a board member of Ocean Park since 2003 and is deputy chairman since 2009, but he has some big shoes to fill. Since becoming chairman in 2003, Zeman has managed to raise visitor numbers and generate record profits, far from letting Ocean Park be overshadowed by Disneyland since it opened in Hong Kong in September 2005. Commerce Minister Greg So thanked Zeman today for his contributions to the park and the city's tourism industry as a whole.
In any organization, leadership succession is very easy, very important, and it is important to for the continued operation of any organization that rely on its management as well as its board to carry the ongoing projects. And I have every confidence that the new board of the Ocean Park will be able to carry on all its existing work.
The outgoing chairman has indicated that he would like to stay on as an advisor, but this will be up to the new board of directors to decide. The 65-year-old is leaving the post under new government guidelines, stipulating that officials in statutory bodies cannot serve more than 6 years. He was a core supporter of former Chief Secretary Henry Tang in the election for Chief Executive in 2012. After Leung Chun-ying beat Tang, there was speculation that Zeman's days were numbered for backing the wrong horse. But the new chief executive renewed Zeman's term for 2 years in 2012, citing his outstanding performance. In the fiscal year ending in June last year, Ocean Park saw a record 7.7 million visitors, up 9% from the previous year, and reported a surplus of $127.2 million. Last year also saw the completion of a major $5.5 billion redevelopment. The management reshuffle comes as Ocean Park prepares to open a new water world in 2017. The $2.3 billion project is expected to attract 10,500 visitors a day when it opens its doors in the summer of 2017. Arthur Akiola, ATV News.
Green groups have ridiculed the airport authorities' assessment that endangered Chinese white dolphins will swim away during construction of the third runway and return to their habitat when the dust has settled down.
An environmental assessment report released by the operator today proposes a marine park to attract the dolphins back. ATV's Winner Wang reports.
As one of the world's busiest airports, Cheklapkok will soon reach its maximum handling capacity. Plans for a third runway surfaced in 2008, with the aviation sector claiming it's vital to sustain operations at the airport. But environmentalists argue that an additional runway will increase pollution and threaten the endangered Chinese white dolphins. In a bid to ease such concerns, the airport authority today released a report assessing potential environmental damage from the third runway project. The environmental impact assessment covers 12 aspects, including noise pollution, ecology, and land contamination, and proposes measures to tackle the problems. The paper suggests adjusting night flight paths to avoid populated areas so fewer people are affected by noise. But the spotlight at a news conference today was on the plight of the Chinese white dolphins that swim and feed near waters where authorities plan to reclaim land for the third runway.
We do expect that there would probably be some decrease in numbers of dolphins in the area during the construction phase. But the plan is, and the hope is, that the very large marine park that's being designated and being proposed here would provide an attractive habitat for the dolphins to move back to once the construction was completed.
The marine park is expected to cover 2,400 hectares, and the report says building an extra runway is environmentally acceptable. The ball is now in the government's court. They will study an environmental impact assessment report and make a decision in October. But green groups who are worried about the fate of the dolphins vow they will not give up on the fight against the project, which they claim is a white elephant. Environmental activists turned up to protest against the third runway plan today. They ridiculed the airport authority's idea of dolphins swimming away during construction and returning to their habitat when the dust has settled down.
Actually, the size of marine parks is very, very small, much smaller than we expect. That means if the third runway will be built, our Chinese white dolphin, the signature of Hong Kong, will decrease significantly.
Those who oppose the project have until 19th of July to provide their feedback. The airport authority is insisting the expansion is necessary to maintain the city's competitiveness. The bill for a third runway could reach $130 billion, but supporters say Hong Kong could reap economic benefits worth at least $900 billion over 50 years. Winna Wong, ATV News.
Still to come on ATV's main news tonight. Barack Obama to send 300 military advisors as Iraqi families mourn victims of militant